Saga Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Space Arena Ground Arena Podcast. It's been a bit. We are here covering Star Wars Unlimited from the ground up. I'm one of your hosts, Kennedy Hawk. We've got our whole crew here today. We've got Mr. Ben. How's it going?
I'm doing great, man. I'm excited to talk about cards.
Who isn't, right? And we've got Banana. How's it going over there?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Sorry we couldn't record last week. That was my fault. But here we are tonight. So
It happens. But we're all here tonight, and with the release of Set 2, we wanted to do a fun little game again. But first, I figured we'd all talk about what have we been playing. So we'll go in reverse order. Banana, what have you been playing recently?
I'm playing Star Wars Unlimited, mainly. Some other stuff on the side, but mainly Cad Bane and Han 1, and then every now and then when I spice it up with some other leaders. Like today, I played a bunch of games with Chewbacca. So,
yes.
But Cad Bane aggression is my jam. I see the Matrix with it pretty well, so that's me.
Nice. What about you, Mr. Ben?
So, I have fiddled around with a bunch of different decks, but my main sort of honing, I started with Dr. Aphra, not as a meme. I legitimately thought the idea of being able to use the KO pile as like a second hand with some of the command tools that can recur things out of the KO pile would potentially be strong. And I eventually realized I liked the underworld stuff, but not so much Dr. Aphra, and moved on to kind of messing around with Cad Bane. And I eventually realized, hey, I could keep doing all the same stuff I'm doing in this deck and also have one of the best finishers for like a aggro top end in the form of the fire spray if I just switch this to Boba Fett. I'm a little disappointed to realize literally everybody else on Karabast has also realized Boba Cunning is a pretty good deck. I mean, not exactly news, but I'll tell you what, man, new adventures plus fire sprays has been ridiculous. Been a lot of fun. What are you playing, Dan?
I've been jumping all around. I'm still been on Tarkin quite a bit, but I'm still on my blue-yellow and blue-red control kick. So I've been doing a lot of that back in Krennic, actually, and a little bit in Gar Saxon, which has been pretty fun as well. I think there's potential in a blue like control lockdown deck still that does pretty well. But I've also been blown away by anything red with Pillage. Pillage is a card that I slept on, and it has burned me so many times that now I have to prepare for it in every game and every local. So I'm getting tuned up on red again.
Pillage and Force Throw is like pretty brutal.
Pillage and Force Throw, yeah. I've been putzing with like a Vader hard removal, but also like attack hand deck, and it's pretty brutal. When you can only play one thing and they always have removal for that one thing, it can be very frustrating. So, but are we doing one topic today? I prepared the one. Are we doing more than one?
Before we get into...
That's what I was thinking. Before we get into the main topic.
We should probably talk about...
There's some news.
Some news from today, yeah. So.
Yeah, direct from the Galactic Senate. It is Gen Con week, so we are all at Gen Cant, and they have released some awesome information from Gen Con. So, let me see if I can pull up the pictures really quick. But we've got some pretty cool things to talk about in card previews. Sorry about that. Yeah, so at Gen Con, they had the Fantasy Flight Games, what do they call it? The In-Flight Report is finally back. They hadn't done it for a couple years. I think they started doing it again last year, but this used to be like a huge thing back when they had 4 or 5 concurrent LCGs. They would announce a ton of new titles, a ton of new card games. And at the one at Gen Con, they talked a lot about Set 3, which we all know is called Twilight of the Republic. So, have you all looked at the preview cards that have come out of that?
I did, yes.
You did, I figured. So, we've got a bunch of new cards to go through. Do we want to each talk about what our favorite thing is from this new set? Cool. So, I can start us off. So, in this new set, there's a new mechanic. The mechanic is all about token characters. So there are a lot of characters that will spit out clone trooper tokens or battle droid tokens. So on the heroism side, a clone trooper token is just a 2/2 vanilla weenie token, and on the villainy side, a battle droid is a 1/1 token. So what do y'all think about adding token characters to the game instead of just our standard shields and experience?
I think it was inevitable, just with the game, and the battle droids and the clone troopers seemed like the perfect introduction to that sort of token unit mechanic. So
I think so too. I think they're actually going to be really strong. I think we don't have a ton of AoE in this game. And a lot of the characters we currently have that allow you to play two characters at once, things like U-Wing or Home One that also spits out another character with it, or Vader, they're not oppressive, but they're really popular in the meta. Because if you can get two threats on the board for one card, typically your opponent is using more than one card to remove it. So the example of one of those is Captain Rex is a 6-cost command character. He's only a 4/4, which seems kind of underwhelming for a 6-cost character. But when played, he also creates 2 clone trooper tokens that are each 2/2s. So you're getting 8 attack value out of a 6-cost unit, and it's spread over 3 bodies. So your opponent's likely going to take 3 actions to remove those 3 bodies, giving you more time to sort of get some value out of those attacks. So I think that's pretty cool. I think it's going to really allow people to go wide, which is probably going to be pretty important. What about you, Ben? What are you jazzed or not jazzed about in the new set?
I like the idea of double strike entering the game. I realize it's not keyworded on Darth Maul, but the idea of characters being able to attack and hit 2 things, given that it's not a keyword, it probably will be a character-specific trait, but that's design space that I really like. So that was kind of the mechanic that I was stoked for based on the limited stuff we know about Set 3. I think attacking 2 things at once is very cool.
Yeah. The one I thought was cool is the exploit mechanic. So, if you're unaware how that works, exploit allows you to, when you're playing the card, you can defeat up to, like, the exploit integer, so exploit X, defeat up to X units, and for each friendly unit defeated that way, you can reduce the cost to play that card by 2. So if it's exploit 2, you can defeat up to 2 friendly units, and then you can reduce the cost by 2 for each unit defeated. So the Ventress one that's in the con pack is exploit 2 and cost 4, so you can play her for free by defeating 2 friendly units. And then the one card they showed in the article on the website was the Hailfire tank, which is an 8-cost villainy unit. That's a 7/6 with exploit 2. So for 4, so if you have other units you played earlier in the game that are just spitting out battle droid tokens, you can defeat 2 of your battle droid token units to reduce the cost of a 7/6 by 4. Seems pretty solid.
I like exploit a lot. I like that it's very versatile. It's almost unlimited, right? Going with their theme of their game name. But a lot of games, when they have these sort of sacrifice mechanics, it'll be like a mandatory cost of playing a unit. Like that Hailfire tank might say it costs 8, or it costs 4, but to play it you have to sacrifice 2 units. Here you can play it on turn 8 if you have no better options, or you can play it earlier by sacrificing units that maybe have lost their efficiency or have already gotten their swing off for that turn. So I think having that option in the hands of the player instead of like mandated by what the card is going to be pretty cool.
Yep. One of the other things they announced was the set titles for sets 4, 5, and 6, which will be next year's releases. So that was pretty cool. A little teaser on those.
So those will be Jump to Lightspeed, Legends of the Force, and Secrets of Power. Looks pretty sweet. And same months for releases is what they're claiming as well. So be on the lookout in March for Set 4.
Yeah. Set 2 just came out. I'm not ready to start looking forward to Set 4 quite yet.
Oh, I am. Yeah. Don't worry. I like spaceships. The logo's got a spaceship on it. I'm in
there.
Nah.
Yeah, you're just completely
that's
skipping.
All I want.
You didn't even talk about Coordinate yet, but you're skipping right over that.
It's true. We do have this ability Coordinate as well. I guess we should mention what it is. We'll probably go into more depth in a future episode, but Coordinate is a keyword ability. And basically, the Coordinate ability, you gain this ability while you control 3 or more units. So an example is the Ahsoka Tano leader, who looks to be in the starter set for this 3rd set, has Coordinate action, exhaust the leader, attack with a unit, it gets +1 attack for this attack. So you can only use that action when you have 3 or more units. So turning off or enabling coordinate with tokens or with removal is going to sort of be a pivotal thing going into this new set. So it seems like 3 units is going to be a pretty big threshold. Another reason that Captain Rex seems pretty rad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like the starter is Grievous and Ahsoka. So.
Want.
Mm-hmm. Give me 2. I'll take 2.
All right. Well, we'll get on to our main topic for today. We are going to do our tiers or tiers tier board minigame again. So, we have a tier board list. I need to open one so I can share my screen, I suppose, if my computer allows me to share screens. And we're going to kind of go around the horn here, having everyone pick characters to place onto the tier board. So, again, as a reminder of how we did this last time, each player was allowed to place a character into a tier. So we're going to be tier boarding all of the all of the set 2 leaders, spoiler alert, maybe my opinions, onto tiers from S through D. So on your turn, you can either place a leader into a tier that hasn't been placed yet, or you can move a leader up or down, but it can't be a leader that someone else just moved or placed. That way we're not stuck in an endless loop of bouncing leaders up and down. So I'm going to get the tier list pulled up here, and then we'll kick it off with Mr. Ben this time for the fun of the tier board.
So I do want to lay out one other parameter. These are set 2 leaders. While we're only ranking the set 2 leaders on this tier list, they're being analyzed from the leader pool of all existing leaders. So we're not just comparing them to each other, we're comparing them to everything from set 1. And then that's where they land on the list.
So Dan, real quick, while you're getting that set up, as a Marvel Champions content creator and me as a former one, and Mr. Ben who's played, what are you excited for the next campaign for the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
I mean, it looks amazing. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of my favorite shows of all time, so I'm super excited about that. Really excited because Hawkeye has the S.H.I.E.L.D. trait, so that's the main reason I have to be excited. But yeah, I'm excited that they announced something because people were really worried that we weren't even going to get an announcement at Gen Con. So having a whole wave announced is a big, exciting point for that community. And to see that we're, not that I dislike X-Men, just saw Deadpool vs. Wolverine, loved it, it was great. But we've been in X-Men for 3 waves or cycles now. People were ready to sort of, at least I was ready to go see other sides of the Marvel Universe, and S.H.I.E.L.D. is one of my favorite sides, so I'm pretty excited for it. I hope the community is too, but time will tell.
All right, back to Star Wars Unlimited.
Yeah, back to the game we're talking about today. So,
this is where the fun begins.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so I'm going to start by putting Hunter into the D tier. Thematically, you could put him much higher, but much like Hera in set 1, this is a card that leans more into theme than into mechanical utility. He struggles if he can't get exactly his thing going. He's very disruptible, very predictable. If you're a fan of this character, I think this is a well done card, but if you're a fan of winning games, this is probably not the one you want to bring to that tournament. What order are we going in here? I'll hand off to whoever's next.
Who's next, Dan?
We'll go to Banana next.
Okay. We're going to go with Moff Gideon, and we're going to put him A tier. So, I think originally I wasn't too high on Moff Gideon, and then I got stomped by Moff Gideon, and I think does. He enables a lot of cool things with some smaller units, he just enables himself with some smaller units to swing up higher than they should, so you get more value out of them. And playing him with vigilance in a soft control shell, he does really well in that shell. I think he's better than Krennic in that blue-green shell. So
seems reasonable.
His deployed side kind of sucks and isn't really that relevant, but the front side, when he can make those smaller units more relevant into the aggro matchups is pretty good.
Sweet. I think I'm going to take an easy one here and put young Han Solo into the A tier. I think he's a really strong aggro leader. I think that the set has a lot of tools and all sorts of colors for him to really want to build around. Works really well with grit units, works really well to just get up curve and have super value trades or force your opponent into bad trades. I don't know if he's the strongest aggro leader out there. In fact, I think he isn't. I think that like something with cunning and surprise strike is probably a stronger aggro package. But I think he's a aggro deck that will always be a contender when you go to a local tournament or even a big tournament. He's gonna get in your way. But very susceptible to things like Tarkin Town and stuff like that. So I put him in the A tier.
Well, I guess since you guys are going to hang out on the top of the heap, I'll stay down here in the trash mines in dumpster tier, and I'm going to grab old Hondo Anaka and throw him into tier D. My analysis is very similar to what I would have to say about Hera or Hunter. The difference is his sort of gimmick isn't necessarily... I mean, it is thematic as well, but it's also kind of built around this premier new mechanic that we got in set 2. But the mechanic itself isn't fantastic. Hondo is built on a mechanic that isn't super strong. If you like this character, I think he does a thing that appeals to you thematically. But again, I don't think this guy's going to be winning a lot of games in like high pressure situations. So I drop him down in the theme tier, I guess we'll call it.
That's fair.
All right. I'm gonna throw one in the bottom for Mr. Ben. Afra. Get her in the bottom.
Bottom. Okay.
Bottom.
Okay.
She doesn't do... I don't think she does enough. Like, you're trying to build your discard so you can pull cards back to your hand, but even that's random. I don't think... And, like, we don't have BT or 000. How do you make an Afra character without giving her the evil counterparts of R2 and C3PO? So I just think design-wise, that's a fail. And then I don't think her ability is strong enough that she's basically blank. Like, there's no reason to play her, I don't think, over any other yellow leader at the moment.
That's fair. I've got Bosk here in the C tier. I think that Bosk is very strong, but he has this like weird dual identity where whether you want to build on his deployed side or his other side, he kind of has different game plans. And that can be good to like be able to pivot game plans in the middle of the game. But I've found that too often I'm drawing into the cards for the game plan I'm not prepared for at that point in time, and it doesn't work out for me. I still think he's a strong leader. It's better than Iggy was in set 1, but I think that he's an okay to great sealed leader, but slightly above the D tier, but not strong enough to be in the B tier where I would play my jank fun decks.
All right, I'm going to keep drinking Haterade, only this time I'm going to attack the board, and we're going to move Moff Gideon down to B tier.
Whoa.
I'm not a believer in this guy.
All right. Let's see how this is gonna go. I'm gonna take Cad Bane and we're gonna throw him in S tier. Not just because he's my favorite character in the game, but because he's my favorite deck to play. I think he is the reason Tarkin Town was created. They play so well together. Cad aggression is really fun, and I think it legitimately has a chance into every deck.
Well, the real reason Tarkin Town was created was Bo-Katan, but she still belongs in the B tier because I think it's just too predictable and it locks you into mono colors, which are stronger than they were in set 1, but you really need to have a super extreme reason, in my opinion, to still go mono. There are some great mono decks out there, but I don't know if Bo-Katan really cuts it for me getting into A or S tier.
It's going to come off like I'm picking on somebody, but I cannot abide an S tier Cad Bane. I got to shove him down to F.
That's okay.
I'll push it back up
I
for
knew
you.
you were
It's
gonna
okay.
do that. I knew you were gonna bump him. That's why I put him in S.
We're
So
all
that when
more
he bumped, he'd
strategic
get
this
bumped
time.
to A.
This is good.
Yeah.
I cannot abide it.
All right. I'm gonna move a leader as well.
Okay.
I'm gonna move Bosk up to B. I think
Checks out.
he, of all the leaders we have, there's not a leader who can snowball a game into your opponent, making your opponent go into the abyss more than Bosk can. Like if you play Bosk with command and you're playing like Bounty Hunter's Quarry and the 2-drop one that gives you resources, like he can just snowball into a point where your opponent has 0 chance. And there's no other leader that can enable that like Bosk can. So I think the upside is there that he's better than C tier.
Okay. I can get along with that. It's hard for me to want to move things when everything is where they belong. So this is problematic. We'll go with an easy choice and put Finn down here with his D tier friends. I don't think he works. I don't think we have the cards that exist that make Finn want to work yet. Sacrificing a upgrade for another upgrade is just it hasn't worked out for me. I haven't found a deck that makes Finn shine. And maybe there'll be a deck someday, but I just don't see it yet. So Finn is just a worse choice than every other blue vigilance hero leader. So he's going to end up in the D tier for me.
Man, I feel like I haven't placed one in a while. So I'll do that. I'll take Kylo Ren and I'll drop him into A tier. This guy is great at turn right, stack damage, aggro deck stuff. It's a pretty linear and somewhat disruptible aggro deck due to the play pattern. He forces you to gut your hand, so if your opponent has good answers for the board that you've established, it can be more difficult for him to rebuild than some of the other aggressive leaders. He's very good at what he does, but if aggro's your game, I think there are S tier aggro leaders out there. Kylo isn't it, but he certainly offers a lot of like explosive potential, and therefore I'll drop him into A.
It's fair. I'm gonna place the Mandalorian in the B tier. I think he is pretty solid overall, being able to exhaust your opponent's units. I think it's very annoying for them. So he does enable some fun stuff, but I think he is a little too fair, and to get a lot of value out of him, going super upgrade heavy, you leave yourself open for really bad hands, and really bad draws in games. So there are some games where you play, like, because there's some games I've played with him where it's like, okay, my whole hand is upgrades and events, and then, just it can be rough at times. But he himself, like, the game plan is pretty solid. You just gotta, maybe I'm just not a good deck builder with him, but there's definitely some cool stuff there, but a little bit of downside too.
Yeah, very sideboardable is why I have my problem with him, right? But I'm going to do a movement. I'm going to take Hunter and bump him up to C tier. I agree that, like, his ability is lackluster right now. Maybe someday it'll be fine, but we're not moving him to C for that. It's really to get him out of the dumpster fire that is the Finn tier down here. Because at the end of the day, a 5/8 Overwhelm body is really good. 5/8 Overwhelm that you don't have to draw into, that is always going to come out if you last that long into the game, which you should be able to do if you're planning around it, to me has been pretty beneficial. You can stack upgrades on it, and it becomes a really difficult body to remove outside of a few events that you need to play around, and I think that warrants him at least being in the C tier, at least not the dumpster fire tier, so bump him up.
What do I do here? All right,
How do you fix this mess?
I'm gonna shove Mandalorian down to C. All the same stuff. Like, he's fine in, like, starter deck versus starter deck. In constructed, he has way too many awkward draws. This, like, fistful of upgrades and nothing to upgrade situation is unacceptable.
All right, well, I'm going to move Kylo Ren down to B tier. He can be super explosive, but he is way too predictable and way too easy to disrupt. Yeah.
Fair. I was hoping Mr. Ben would move Cad Bane down for us, but he didn't. He didn't take it. I'm gonna place one because I moved one last time. I'm gonna place a Rey up here in A tier. I think Rey is great. I've played her in a bunch of different packages, a bunch of different colors, and she works in all of them. You can make an awesome like underworld Rey with Lady Proxima and a bunch of things. You can do moisture farmers. Recently, I've been doing like a Rebel Rey with command using the droids and Mon Mothma and Bright Hope and things like that. She's super fun. But at the same time, like she's as fun as Tarkin was in set 1. Tarkin had a different limit on how he could place his experience that you could also build around. And he's now found a home that makes him very strong. I'm sure she also has that home, but I don't think the playing off curve to place 1 XP token has a home in the S tier yet. I think it's a very strong deck. It's a deck that makes your maybe less efficient units a little bit more efficient, which people tend to be able to play with really well. But I think she belongs in A, not S.
I really wanted to believe in Jabba the Hutt. I did. I thought there was potential there, and I feel like he let me down all the way down to C tier. Everything he does, there are other options in like control-y-ish command leaders or full-on control command leaders that just do the stuff better. I was pretty unimpressed with most of what he does. His stats are reasonable, like that's a big but. Like sometimes, occasionally, his power is relevant. But every scenario where I thought, oh, this would be where Jabba would look good, he's ended up being like at best kind of okay. So I put him in C.
I think that's a good spot for him. My biggest critique of him is just too slow. Let's put Boba Fett, the rock lobster, in the A tier. His ability to buff other units when you play units with keywords is easy to do, and making like units with ambush swing for +1 right off the bat is pretty cool. So yeah, I think he's really, really solid all around. There you go. A tier Boba Fett.
Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed him, because I have not. But a leader I have enjoyed that I haven't seen a lot of talk about is Gar Saxon. And I'm going to put Gar Saxon in S tier, because I am pretty positive-oriented, and I think his ability is mad crazy on his non-deployed side.
Something crazy's going on.
I'm telling you, I think upgrades are a lot stronger than people think they are. Yeah, they can be sideboarded against, but that +1 attack from like making an XP a +2/+1 token and making a shield a +1 and avoid all damage has been incredibly powerful. I'm not talking about building around Jedi lightsabers and Fallen lightsabers and things like that, but just leaning into the Mandalorian XP and shield trait. He's performed exceptionally well, mainly because Blue has a really good removal package to go along with it. He can sort of remove the threats that are going to cause problems for his upgraded units. And if you can deploy him and keep him up, being able to, if you do play upgrades, bounce them back and use them over and over again, at least for me, has been like a massive success. So I'm putting Gar Saxon in S tier. He's my number 1 leader for this set, and I think that he belongs there. It's my Vader from last set that ended up being really strong, so hopefully I'm right this time too.
Okay, I am going to move Afra up to C. While she is still awkward and probably not competitively viable at this at this point in time, this is not a dumpster fire of a leader. Getting to look at a lot of extra cards and potentially fish them back to your hand, dredge. People who know how strong this type of mechanic can be, and while she's not like there, she can't hang out with with Finn and Hondo down there in the tier of broken dreams.
She only pulls one card back though. Like she pulls one card back one time, like that.
Well, yeah,
Randomly.
like, you can't rely on
Randomly.
just her.
Yeah, Gar Saxon needs to go down.
Absolutely not.
That's
I refuse.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I couldn't do that. Otherwise, I would have.
That's ridiculous.
You're gonna find out. Just wait. Okay. Well, if we're all moving people to where we think they belong, I'm moving Boba Fett down. I think Boba Fett's great. He works with a ton of units. To me, he's just super boring, and he suffers from not working well with his fire spray. Right. I think that's one of the main things that makes Boba Yellow Leader really strong beyond his efficiency, is that fire spray unit is super strong. When you get locked out of it, it's just real painful. So I have not been impressed with just adding +1 to keywords.
I am going to move Gar Saxon down for the same reason Banana had.
We're
That's
playing
just
online
ridiculous.
after this. Get your webcam ready.
All right.
All right, here we go.
I'm gonna put Lando in B tier. He's a really cool, like ramp leader that can really benefit all your smuggle cards by making them even cheaper. I think he's a high skill cab leader. I think people don't like that he has to defeat one of his resources when he uses his ability, but when you're getting a 2-cost savings on the unit you're smuggling in, I think it's worth it, and I think he's very underplayed and underestimated. He's not the greatest leader, obviously, but I think he's decent.
I'm going to bump Kylo back up. I think Kylo does belong in A tier. I agree with what Mr. Ben said earlier. He's probably not the best aggro leader, but that best aggro leader is up here in S, and Kylo should be a gate check leader that everyone plays against. If you're making a gauntlet, you should prepare for one of those Kylo decks that just burns you down in 4 turns. And if you can't survive against it, you need to figure out what your game plan is against it, because the nice thing about decks that are pretty linear is, yes, they're predictable, people can counterplay them and things like that. It's harder to make mistakes with them. So if people take this to a big tournament, right, there's a very consistent play pattern for them. They don't have to expend as much mental energy with what am I going to do here, which card am I going to discard, because the play pattern is linear enough that they sort of can prepare for a big tournament a lot easier. So I think Kylo's going to end up being pretty popular in tournaments. Probably not win a lot of them, but show up in a lot of them. So A tier for me.
I want to play something, but I kind of want to move something just so it doesn't end. All right, I'm going to take Fennec. I'm going to put Fennec in B tier. The ability to give cards that shouldn't have ambush. Ambush has been verified as being great through use of ECL. Timely intervention has already seen a bunch of play. Yes, it is gated on cost, so you can't give anything ambush, but getting stuff out early and being able to dictate trades when you are playing from behind, like if your opponent's getting to go first and you're still able to dictate the pace of the trades by giving things ambush, I think is very strong. But paying 1 more for all of your units can kind of hold you back and slow you down. So there's this kind of like balance with Fennec, that her ability allows you to get ahead, but paying for it can sometimes like hold you back from even playing on curve. Because of that, I think she has some legs, but she can get outpaced by decks that can keep putting value out onto the board. So I think she's a solid B, although I could see arguments for her being pushed maybe a little bit lower, because that the weaknesses are pretty glaring in her, but particularly in a sealed environment, I found her to be quite good, and I think she has some legs in Premier as well. Banana?
This is interesting. Can I move a leader? I already moved earlier.
Yeah, totally. As long as you move him in the opposite direction. I'm just kidding.
I'm not gonna move Garsaxon again.
Thank God. He's going back up next turn, so don't worry.
All right, well then you know what?
I'm just kidding.
Going down now. I think Cad Bane has to go back up to S tier. That's what we're doing.
Yes. Okay. I'm moving Lando down. Things that have I would move Fennec down, but you just placed her there, and I'd feel bad because I'm not like that. You hear me? Having 5 to 4 health on a leader makes me sad. I don't like takedown. It makes me very sad. So Lando goes down a tier for me, just because there's so many good options for yellow hero, whether it be Mando, who's disgustingly in the same tier as Lando now, Fennec, or Han, that I can't justify running him. He uses the same gimmicky mechanic as Hondo, who's in the dumpster fire, but in my opinion, in a worse way. So, get him out of here.
What's our end game procedure?
I think when
here?
the last hero is placed, we each get one more movement.
Mm.
And I think we can't. I think we had a rule where you can't move that hero that's placed. So whoever decides to end it, they kind of like know they got that character right.
Oh no.
What do I do here? All right, I am going to push Lando. Or no, you just moved him, so I can't move him. I'm going to move Moff Gideon down to C.
Whoa.
No way.
All right, Banana. I won't attack Cad Bane if we recover Moff Gideon's prestige. I'm just saying.
I can't move him. He just got moved.
It's true. It's true. You know what you need to do. Gar Saxon needs a bump. We have to stall so Ben doesn't end this.
What is happening right now?
I'm gonna move Afra back down to D tier. Jeez. Moff Gideon is 1,000,000 times better than Afra.
Okay. Oh, I don't know what to do when all of my things are in the wrong rows. So this is going well. I'm gonna hop Mando up a tier. I think he's stronger than Lando, and I'm trying to flip-flop those two.
Push Gar Saxon to C tier.
How dare you?
Move Moff Gideon up.
Thank you. We're working as a team. We can. We can move Gar back up. I do actually think he's very strong, but time will tell. All right, things are looking better. I am gonna move. None of these. I'm with Mr. Ben. I'm going to move Afra back up. I think Yellow Villain has a lot of strong characters, but it's got a lot of strong cards, and she can play in there too. I do think she gets a little pigeonholed into Command, just because Command can pull things from the discard, and like Mr. Ben said already, you get that second hand from your discard. But I think that it's worthy of not being in the Finn tier, which is what I call the bottom row.
Lando to the Finn tier.
Thank you. Common sense prevails.
I just don't see it. I really just don't see what you're supposed to do with this guy.
You put him on a coaster and put a drink on top of him.
Fennec down one.
Down one. Ooh. Brutal. Okay. Well, we all know what has to happen. We are going to... Oh, it won't let me put her back. What have I done? Oh, gosh. I guess I have to place her now.
Yeah, just
I was going to joke and actually move Gar Saxon up one, but I've accidentally placed her.
Well, okay, so just leave her in D tier,
She's not
right
really
now-
in deer, everybody.
No.
This guy's going back where he belongs. It's going to take 7 turns, but we're going to get him back to S tier. And she's not in there yet.
Yeah.
The inferior vigilance villainy hero from this set.
Bo-Katan to C tier.
Y'all have really big C tiers compared to me. This happened last time, too. I should have known better.
Can't believe you guys left Cad Bane up there this long.
We have an alliance to recover Moff Gideon together.
Yeah, let's move him up one.
All right.
I think
Okay.
my C tier was only 4 liters. So.
Well, I'll try to fix that for you. Let's move Fennec up one, because I think she is a little bit stronger than y'all are thinking. I mean, she does die to takedown, but that ambush can really, if used the right way early on, can really swing a game.
Dies to removal. Tear it up.
Dies to removal.
I
Don't forget,
will,
Kira's in here too. She's down here in No Man's Land.
I'll push Boba Fett to C tier.
What? Can't let that happen, right? Sorry, I'm just. Let's move Bo-Katan up one.
Bad Sabine goes to the B tier for bad. All right, well, it's gotten to me again, and the time has come for Kira. No, we're moving Gar Saxon up one again. Why not? It's where he belongs. Face it. Face your reality.
Absolute madness.
Never tell me the odds.
Absolute madness.
Never tell me the odds.
I'll put Hunter back into the dumpster where he belongs.
Whoa! Not you. Not you.
I'm gonna move Afra in the dumpster where she belongs.
I feel like this is a battle of me moving people up while you all move them down. It's very fun. I'm like, how do I recover all these people? Okay, there's way too many people in the dumpster, but none of the ones I want there. Let's move Cad Bane down one. I've held the alliance for a long time, but it's time for endgame moves here.
I'm surprised there's only like 2 that haven't moved at all.
Who hasn't moved? Finn?
Or 3.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, like
Ray
Han,
and
Ray.
Han, maybe? Yeah.
Han, Ray haven't
Han,
moved.
Ray,
and
Finn,
Hondo and Finn.
Hondo. Finn, yeah.
I guess to fill conversation, in general, I think that people seem pretty down on set 2 leaders, but I think they're actually pretty strong still. My tune has changed on that, at least. I know when things were first coming out, I was just like, oh great, new cards for the old leaders that are better. But I've come around to realizing that all of them have pretty cool builds, which is cool. Good job, FFG. Except Lando. You are where you are.
Whose turn is it? I think.
It's Mr. Ben, I think.
You, man.
No, it's you.
I thought it was on Banana.
Oh, I just moved Cad Bane down after him.
Oh, okay. So then
Yeah.
it is on me. My bad.
It's
I
on
thought
you.
we were waiting on
I
Banana.
thought you were crunching the numbers over there. I was like, he
Yeah.
is really analytic with this game. I'm
No, I
just
was
like, my
like,
heart.
not even-
Gar.
Okay, well, in that case,
No. No.
Gar Saxon, return to B tier.
Except B tier, sadly.
All right, I'm gonna trigger endgame and let's put Kira in the A tier.
Excellent. Well, to undo the damage that's been done, I'll move Gar Saxon back up one more. My last move. Force Banana's hand a little bit. Make him choose between his boy Cad and his hatred of Gar.
Cad B tier.
Whoa! Shots fired. Tarkentown shots.
Oh, and I can't move him. He does not belong there.
Agreed. I wish I could
m-
fix that for you. I should have moved him to S, and then you could have moved Gar for me. I could have done the alliance. Oh.
I wish I could move
Check your
Fennec 2
DMs, man.
spots. Oh, look at all those missed messages.
Help me.
So I get the last move, and then that's it, right?
You get the last move, and then I'll start tabulating scores while you all distract the audience.
And I can't
Your
move
force
Kira
tricks.
or Cad Bane. Because Cad was just
Correct.
moved. Kira is the
Correct.
placement thing. So now do I go for what I think, or do I want to try to get extra points here? That's...
Go with your heart. This is Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to move Kylo down to B, and that's going to be the last move.
A hero to the end. All right, I'm going to put all this data into my protocol droid while you all discuss about the outcome of our tier list. So I shall be right back. Beep, boop, beep.
That is a long sound clip. I don't think any of the set 2 leaders qualify as S tier. I'm not trying to say they're like terrible or unplayable. Well, a few of them are pretty rough. But if S tier is the likes of Sabine variants, the control set, no, I don't think any of these leaders dethrone the aggro mid range or control shells that exist from set 1.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. None of them deserve S tier at the moment. I would agree. For me, my S tier is 3 leaders. So that's...
Yeah, I had 3 in A tier out of set 2.
I had Han. I had Rey. I had Moff Gideon. I had Kira. Did not have Gar Saxon in A tier. I hope he shares that so we can make it the thumbnail on the YouTube version of this.
I'm talking with my mic off. Sorry, had to go pull up your results and put them in. I have the group results, now I have to enter all of ours. So you chit-chat about how awesome Star Wars is.
Star Wars is pretty cool. Did you guys watch The Acolyte?
Yeah, I'm actually a little confused as to why the internet's so mad about that show.
I don't know either. I thought it was I didn't think it was amazing. I think it had some really high moments and some really low moments.
Yeah.
I think the writing wasn't great, and it had highs and lows for me, but the high spots were really high. There were some really awesome moments in the show. So
Well, the whole trying to write a show around identical twins, there's some tropes in that, I don't know if you call it a genre, but I feel like Acolyte just kind of went face first into every single mistaken identity. It didn't do anything that groundbreaking with the premise of having identical twins, which I felt was, I don't know if missed opportunity is the right word, but as a Star Wars show, I was excited to see Trinity, although that was short-lived excitement. No spoilers.
yeah. It was cool seeing some stuff in live action, like Cortosis, and the action scenes were really good. Yeah, a lot of the complaints are unfounded and misguided.
I actually recently was Googling Triple Dark Raid to try to see what moment of Star Wars lore inspired that card, because I like playing that card a lot.
Did you find it?
And it was, yeah, it's some like kids cartoon series that I wasn't immediately familiar with. I wrote it down so I can eventually look it up sometime when I have time, but it wasn't like I was hoping it was going to be like Clone Wars episode this or something, and it's not. It was like Star Wars Resistance or something. I'm sure it's a fine episode, and I will eventually watch it. I just haven't got around to it.
All right. The results are almost in, except Banana's tier list doesn't have Hondo on it. So where is he supposed to be?
He's in my one that I screwed up where I included offset one.
Oh yeah, let me check that one.
And I think
In S tier probably.
No.
C. You had him in C.
Yeah, that sounds right.
All right, I have to audit the math because it looks super wrong. This makes great listening.
Yeah, it does.
So last time we did this, we all ended up in a dead tie.
It did not happen this time.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to. Like my list is very heavily, very hippie. I got a lot in C tier, and our composite list was like the opposite.
So I had 5 in A, 4 in B, 4 in C, and 2 in D in my list. If you add Hondo to my C tier.
Yeah, it's 7 in C.
Did you guys see the artwork for that mall mat that Game Genic teased today? That is like the cleanest looking mat.
The finalizer mat for winning the event looked amazing too.
I think everybody that made top 16 got that. But yeah,
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, you're right. It was top 16, not championship. But man, that's a gorgeous mat.
If only the card was good. All right. The results are in. Are you all ready?
Yep.
Who feels confident? You know the auditing went well. Because in third place is me. Last place, 11 points. So basically, remember, the way we score this is how far off you are in tiers is like how many points you get, and it's golf. So the lower the score, the closer you were to the group scoring. 11 points for me. Second place with 10 points, so very close margin still, is Mr. Banana Crapshoot. And in first place with a remarkable 9 points, only 2 point spread over the 3, is Mr. Ben. So congratulations. We'll pull up the community list one more time, and we'll put it in the channel. So
If I remember right, we all tied at 10 last time. Mm-hmm. So this was very close.
My Gar Saxon didn't hold me in. I tried, but he just didn't get him there. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed it. We didn't do this last time, but what we should do is like a week before set 3 comes out, we should come back and see where we think these leaders place, or maybe add the other leaders to them and like not do a game again, but do a combined tier list with us like actually debating and agreeing upon where Gar Saxon should be in the S tier. But super fun.
Did you see where I put him?
I'm happy with him in A. I'm not going to complain. It's closer to where he belongs than where you are all putting him, but we'll take it. All right. Any last remarks before we close off for today? We've hit our hour quota. The data banks are running out.
I'm good. I hope everybody has fun and keeps playing Star Wars Unlimited because it's a great game.
Super fun. Yep. Completely agree. And if you haven't...
Safe travels.
Yeah, safe travels if you're coming back from Gen Con or if you're going to any of the qualifiers happening in the fall. If you haven't had the chance to join our Discord, we're in full swing for our second season of webcam play through the Saga League. So be on the lookout for how to join that at the end of set 2. But we're currently in like week 3 of 8 or something like that, if I remember right. So we'll be swinging through one of those each time a set comes out. So we'd love for you to join us for set 3. But other than that, we will see you in the arenas.